Hello students, we are going to be designing some sort of little ornament or a little thing that you want to. This is going to be really up to you. I just wanted to show you kind of how we could possibly do this. Obviously it doesn't have to look like mine. Basically the premise of this for this little ornament is we're going to make a bunch of pieces that fit inside. So when we actually laser cut this out, it's going to be just one piece or one. It's only going to take up this much space, and then all these separate pieces are going to come out, and we're going to be able to make separate pieces. And then if you rotate some of them, you can get this kind of 3D thing going on here like this. Notice they have to be rotated 90 degrees for them to fit together, because these are going to be little interlocking pieces that you're going to glue together there. So we're going to try this out, and I'm going to jump on over here and get started. So we're going to start a new sketch as we do, and hide all that other good stuff like we always do, so we have a nice starting spot. We're going to start with some circle. You could start with a square if you like, and I'm going to make this 3 inches. Again, we're just using me as a guide. Do not copy what I'm doing exactly. Do not copy what I'm doing exactly. So next I'm putting a center point rectangle, the center point in that middle of the circle. And if you want yours to rotate this way with that middle piece, you can put it just like mine. Or if you want it to be spinning this way, you can do that as well by putting this rectangle horizontally. But this needs to be 0.125, or the thickness of the wood that we're using, right? So that's the thickness of the wood. That's going to be important, because when we make this interlock, that is this little piece and this little piece. We're going to use that. All right. So from there, you can start using whatever shapes you want in here, right? It can be a circle, it can be some sort of polygon, right? And have some fun there. And oops. When you make this next piece, let's see if I can do this right. Here we go. You can keep going forever, basically, if you want. Obviously, we're going to run out of space eventually. We can't do super itty-bitty things, but you can think of it like a Russian nesting doll here. And we can say, okay, we're done with that. And if I wanted to do a circle inside the next one here, we could do something like this maybe. So let's pause and extrude some of this so we can kind of see, and we'll come back here and we'll kind of see what's going to happen as we extrude this. So we see that, and we're clicking that outside piece there. And the thickness is, again, the thickness of the wood we're using, which is 1/8 of an inch. And I'm saying okay. And you can see that's the first piece there. Let's try extruding the next piece. And that would be this, 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 and this. And oops, I messed that up. We want to double click on that. It said add. We want to make sure it's going to be a new piece. You can tell you're going to be in the right position if that is a different color. And you'll see another mistake I made there. I didn't change this to be the thickness of the wood. And look at that. We're starting to make something here. And as you go, now notice I don't have a notch. So this first one had a notch for the gray piece to fit inside of it. But I don't have a notch in this one yet. So let's go back to that first sketch, and we're going to have to add some lines. And I'm going to add them here. And then to get that line to be the same on the bottom, I'm going to put a reference line here and make it dashed, like we use construction here, right? And I'm going to reflect this so it's the same on the top and the bottom using mirror. And I select this line, and I'm selecting that, and boom, I got the same thing on the bottom now. I know I'm moving fast, so remember you can always pause this video to continue on and follow along with what I'm doing here. So now when I go back here and extrude this second one, I can also select these two pieces, and you start to see that I'm going to have that little notch in there as well now. Now when I do my next extrude, making sure it's going to be a new piece, and the thickness is correct this time, you can get these pieces. And don't worry about actually rotating them, because when you want to export this, you're going to want to export them as one piece here. So I'll show you how to do that in a minute here. But don't worry about actually rotating it in here, because that's not actually going to help us. So when you're done and you like the shape of it or whatever you are thinking there, maybe you want to put a hole in there like I did on the top of mine so you can hang it from a string, or if it's going to be a spooky jack-o'-lantern for Halloween, which is coming up, you can make a base on it so that it kind of stands up. Let's see what that might look like. If you don't want it to be hanging from a string, another option might be to make a little stand for it. And so I'm going to line that up with the center point there. And then I'm going to create a nice little line here because I want to reflect this. So I don't want that, I'm making that a construction line, a dashed line there. And then I'm going to reflect this again. And again, all these things are just tips. You can make your own design and make it crazy and wild as whatever you like there. These are just tips for you. All right, and then I'm just showing you a bunch of different options here. So then I can say okay, and look at that. Now I got a little base for it so it can stand up on its own, if that's what you're wanting. Or you can add a hole in it somewhere if you like to. You can add little arms on the outside. You get creative, right? This is all up to you. I don't want to be giving you too much direction here. But when you are all done and you've gone back and changed some things and made it look super cool, the next thing we want to do is we're going to try something new here so we can export all these separate pieces at the same time. So we're going to say new sketch, and I'm going to click on one of these surfaces. It doesn't matter which one, really. And you can see I have a new sketch going on this surface. And we're going to come up here to this button that's called Use. So that steals things from other sketches. So then I'm going to click that little button, Use, and I'm going to click on all these different 3 shapes just one time. And I'm going to unselect Use, and I'm going to say OK. And the reason we want to do that is I will hide all those parts. Now I have a sketch that shows all 3 pieces, and when I can export this and get all 3 pieces at once instead of doing, by exporting this sketch, it might have some extra stuff in there that we don't want. So little cheater trick there to export to the laser a little easier. When you are all done, go ahead and go turn it in and we'll get it all laser cut out for you. If you need any help, let me know. I will be in our Google Meet chatting with you.